You guys set in the back? Julie? All right, we'd like to welcome Gary Woodland to the interview room here at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. Gary, I'm sure it's been quite a whirlwind the last week and a half or so. Just general overview, how you doing? How's life?
I'm doing all right. It's been a lot. It was nice to go do the media day in New York, but it was a long day. And it was nice, fortunately, having Steinberg as my agent. He's done this a couple times. So we shut everything down Thursday, and I kind of had the weekend to myself and my family, which was nice. My son turned 2, so it was nice to kind of be home and kind of get away for a little bit. And it's nice to be back out here this week. Nice to get back to the grind, get back to the routine. It's a little more difficult, a lot more people around, but it's nice to get back out and play. I'm excited to be here this week.
This is the PGA Tour's first time in Detroit. How are you finding the welcome so far, and what are you looking forward to?
It's been great. Downtown was awesome. I got in yesterday. I've only seen the golf course once, but the golf course is in great shape. Old Donald Ross, the greens have a lot of slope to them, 4 par 5s, so you got some scoring opportunities out there. So the weather looks great. Should be a great week here in Detroit.
Great. We'll start with questions. If you'll raise your hand, we'll get a mic to you. In the back.
Hey, Gary. You talked about getting back to the routine. When it comes to a course like this that you don't see year in, year out first time, how much does the preparation actually change as opposed to like Pebble where you see it at least once a year?
Yeah, it's definitely a little different. And I didn't know really what to expect coming here yesterday. It was probably a bit much. I planned on playing 18 and only got 9 in just because I felt like I needed to get some rest. Fortunately, my caddy came in on Monday, so he walked the golf course. He's seen the golf course multiple times now, which is huge for me. So for me this week it's more about focusing on myself and focusing on hitting golf shots, and I'll rely heavily on him this week and ride the momentum.
All right, great. We're going to go to the back right here.
Thank you, Gary. When Jack Nicklaus came to town last week, he said that your life's going to change after winning the major. What's the biggest thing? He says you're not called "Hey Kid" anymore in the locker room. They say you get a lot of demands on your time.
Yeah, the management of my time is the biggest deal. Obviously, you still got to find a way to prepare. You still got to, take time to do your obligations. But I got to find time for myself as well. And like I said, I'll rely heavily on Steinberg going forward. Fortunately, my caddy as well. He was on the bag when Mike Weir won, so he's texted me, just some expectations. I've had guys reach out to me that have won majors in the past. You got to find, unfortunately, you try to be a nice guy, but sometimes you got to find a way to say no, and that's easier said than done for me sometimes. So hopefully I'll rely more on make Steinberg the bad guy.
All right, we've got 2 questions right here. We'll start with Will.
Gary, Bubba said yesterday he thinks it might be about 6 months before the major champion label really sinks in for you. Is that kind of a timeline that you're prepared for, or how even 2 weeks in has it felt to you in terms of sinking in and realizing that now you're introduced as a U.S. Open champion from here?
Yeah, I was talking earlier. I was surprised on the first tee. I just wasn't expecting to hear that. I was out there thinking about what kind of shot. I hadn't seen the 10th hole. I was thinking about what kind of shot, and then, you hear 2019 U.S. Open champion. I'll tell you, that doesn't get old. I love hearing it, but it's one of those deals where, playing this week, the guys out here don't care. They want to play this week. You're out here to win. It's time to move on. But during the off weeks, I'll be able to enjoy it. But out here, I'm trying to, focus on this week.
Gary, what's more important, a tee shot here to put yourself in a good position, or reading the putts?
The tee shot, because the greens have a ton of slope, so that's going to just kind of, be how you feel there. But you got to be in the fairway to attack these pins. The rough isn't too bad, but there's so much slope, you got to find a way to get below it, and you need to be in the fairway to do that.
George.
Gary, Thursday on, what was the first kind of private moment you had where you could really let it all soak in and kind of just relax and take in what you accomplished?
Yeah, I was down in Miami training Thursday. I got back on the golf course Thursday afternoon. Wednesday, getting home, I hadn't seen my son, and my son, ran into my arms, and that was, makes me emotional now thinking about it. But that was every bit as good as getting that trophy. I hadn't seen him in 2 weeks, so that was special. And his birthday, I had a bunch of family come down, so it was nice just to sit back, reflect, talk about the week before. I was glad I had a week off. I think it would have been a bit much to try to play last week for me, but being at home and, like I said, just having my family there was really nice.
Jim in the middle.
So Gary, it's the end of June. Does it feel like the middle of the season, or and the reality is it's late in the season? What gets you going for the next 6 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot to play for. I'm excited about the Open Championship, at Port Rush. I'm excited. Obviously I love Memphis. I never played Memphis much because I don't like to play the week before a major. But I love the golf course there, so I'm excited to go back to Memphis. And then the playoffs, I felt like I should have won last time we played Liberty National. And kind of gave it away there when Adam Scott won. Chicago and then East Lake. So we have a lot to play for. I still got to play my way on that President's Cup team. So there's still a lot at stake for me. So management of my time is a big deal. Still making sure I'm getting better. Still making sure I'm seeing my coaches and doing the right things at home to prepare myself to come out here this week.
Front right.
What have you had to say no to that you would have said yes to a month ago? And how does this prepare you for the British Open, this tournament at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've ever had the autograph request, that I've had, and it's hard to say no, especially when, somebody's out there and they're asking. I would have been hard for me to hear no when I was a kid. So you try to make time and prepare for that, I guess. I don't know if I blocked in amount of time to do that yesterday. So I think that's why I only played 9 holes. I'd end up signing a little bit more than I was anticipating. So it's just finding, like I said, managing your time and doing that the right way. Luckily, I have a lot of people around me that have been in this situation, and I'll rely on them.
Back left.
Hi, Gary. How does this Donald Ross layout compare with a typical layout you're playing on the tour week to week, and also your thoughts on the city?
Yeah, like Detroit, like I said, I was downtown last night, had dinner, walked around. It was awesome. It was great. First time here, so I didn't know too much what to expect. But Donald Ross, I mean, it's what you expect. The greens have a ton of slope in them. It's a little longer than I anticipated the golf course being, and it's a little soft out there, so it plays a little bit longer. But it's in great shape, so it'll be interesting. If the greens get firm, it could be very tough. But right now they're receptive. You can attack a little bit. 4 par 5s that I can get home to. So, like I said, there's a lot of scoring opportunities. But with Donald Ross, you just got to make sure you're in the right spot, because those greens, you could be in some nasty spots and have some trouble.
Right here in front.
Gary, you said a lot of people reached out to you and gave you advice. What was the best piece of advice that you've gotten since winning the U.S. Open?
I mean, just continue to be yourself. I mean, obviously being a major champion is awesome, but you're still out there. I'm still trying to win more. I'm still trying to get better. I have a lot to do. It was obviously a great week for me. It was special winning on Father's Day, but I have a lot to improve. My game's in a situation where it's becoming more complete, but I just got to continue to improve, and I never settle, never be satisfied, and continue to improve.
Over here on the right.
Hey Gary, you talk about how things have changed, and specifically like autograph requests, but we were told here that after you won the U.S. Open, ticket sales spiked the next day. How different, how weird is it for you to hear that?
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, it's exciting to be in Detroit. I think Detroit's wanted a golf tournament here for a long time, especially since the Buick's been gone. Being here is, you could tell that the atmosphere was awesome. The energy yesterday, the crowds were big for a Tuesday. They were out there today as well. It's special. And Detroit, coming here is, it's a great sports town. You got 4, major sports downtown, all right there, which is awesome. So it's nice to have a golf tournament here as well. And I think they'll be out in full force this weekend. I heard we'll have some rowdy holes out there, so it should be fun.
Okay. Any last questions? Okay, we'll take our last one right here on the front.
So with becoming, a major player in the PGA Tour and having more fans, what would you like young golfers to take away from your game?
Just believe in yourself. I mean, if you work hard and you surround yourself with the right people, anything's possible. I'm, from Kansas growing up, you wanted to dream yourself and you wanted to be where I am today. But I still have places I want to go and things I want to achieve. And so to myself, I'm still working, I'm still believing in myself, believing in the people around me. And if I continue to do that, I believe I'll get to where